Hello everyone, welcome back to the Global Alert TV channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today's update takes us to Eastern Europe, where Russia and Belarus have officially launched one of the largest joint military exercises in recent years, an event that has stirred significant concern across Western capitals. The drills, officially titled Union Shield 2025, began early this week and are being held across multiple training grounds in both countries, showcasing not only their deep military coordination but also the evolving strategic posture of Moscow and Minsk in response to what they describe as growing NATO pressure. On the exterior, the exercise appears as a well-organized display of strength: hundreds of armored vehicles, long convoys of tanks moving through the mist-covered fields, fighter jets carving through the skies, and columns of troops operating in synchrony. The spectacle is meticulously choreographed to show readiness and unity between the two allied nations. Both presidents, Vladimir Putin and Alexander Lukashenko, have emphasized that these drills are purely defensive in nature, aimed at preparing their forces for joint counterterrorism and border protection scenarios. Yet, Western analysts and NATO observers interpret this as more than a routine drill. They see it as a clear message of deterrence, a demonstration of Russia's ability to deploy and sustain large-scale combat operations along NATO's eastern flank. Inside the exercise, the interior, so to speak, lies a complex structure of command and control operations, logistics coordination, and joint battlefield management systems that reflect the modernization of Russian and Belarusian forces. Over the last decade, both nations have gradually integrated their military doctrines, and the 2025 drills mark the culmination of years of preparation. Reports from military correspondents suggest that this year's exercise includes advanced electronic warfare units, new-generation communication technologies, and unmanned reconnaissance drones designed to simulate real combat conditions. Inside command tents equipped with digital maps and secure communication lines, officers from both countries coordinate simulated maneuvers as if they were engaged in an active multi-front conflict. This deep operational coordination is one of the most notable features of the drill, signaling that Russia and Belarus are no longer separate entities on the battlefield but function more as a single, cohesive force. The integration extends beyond personnel and tactics. It includes shared intelligence networks, combined logistical support, and real-time data exchange through encrypted channels. Western military analysts have said that this level of integration mirrors NATO's own operational framework, showing that Moscow and Minsk are aiming to achieve interoperability capable of countering Western alliances in any future confrontation. In terms of performance, the joint exercise demonstrates remarkable efficiency and precision. Videos released by the Russian Ministry of Defense show synchronized tank maneuvers, artillery fire simulations, and coordinated air-ground assaults that suggest a well-practiced, disciplined force. Fighter jets, including Su-34 and Su-35 aircraft, performed low-altitude strike simulations, while missile units in Belarus carried out live-fire tests with short-range ballistic systems. The performance element here is about signaling readiness, the ability to mobilize, strike, and sustain operations within a short time frame. Military experts observing from satellite imagery and ground footage have noted that the drills are designed to test rapid deployment across multiple regions, including border areas near Poland and Lithuania, both NATO members. This aspect of performance is what has fueled Western concern the most, as it demonstrates that Russian forces, even after years of intense involvement in Ukraine, remain capable of conducting large-scale coordinated operations. Belarus's participation, on the other hand, solidifies its role as a logistical and strategic partner, offering its territory as a crucial corridor for Russian military activities. When we talk about safety features in this context, they refer not to physical protection devices but to the diplomatic and procedural safeguards built into the exercise to prevent accidental escalation. Both Moscow and Minsk have notified the OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, about the drills under existing international agreements. However, Western officials remain skeptical, pointing out that similar exercises in the past, notably Zapad 2021, preceded actual military movements in Ukraine. Belarusian officials insist that observers from several neutral countries have been invited to monitor the drills, emphasizing transparency and adherence to international norms. On the ground, emergency units, medical teams, and environmental safety officers are on constant alert to handle any accidents or technical malfunctions. Despite these precautions, NATO has increased its air patrols and surveillance flights over the Baltic region to monitor any irregular movements. European diplomats have stressed that communication lines between NATO and Russia remain open, but they acknowledge that the margin for misunderstanding is dangerously thin in today's tense environment. The unique selling points of this military exercise are multifaceted. For Russia, it is an opportunity to demonstrate to both allies and adversaries that despite sanctions, economic pressure, and prolonged warfare in Ukraine, its military remains formidable, well-equipped, and technologically evolving. The drills showcase not only traditional ground and air power but also hybrid capabilities, electronic warfare, cyber defense, and unmanned systems integration, marking a shift toward more modernized warfare. For Belarus, the value lies in reaffirming its strategic importance to Moscow. After years of diplomatic isolation from the West, Lukashenko's government positions itself as Russia's most reliable partner, gaining security guarantees and military technology upgrades in return. Analysts describe this as a mutually beneficial exchange. Russia gains geographical depth and a forward operating platform near NATO's doorstep, while Belarus secures protection and political backing from its powerful ally. The symbolic selling point, however, is unity, a message that Russia and Belarus are standing shoulder to shoulder in a world increasingly divided by sanctions, blocs, and shifting alliances. If one were to translate these maneuvers into terms of price, it's not just about the financial cost but the geopolitical and diplomatic price each nation pays or extracts. Economically, the exercise costs millions of dollars in logistics, fuel, and ammunition. However, the real price is geopolitical. By aligning so closely with Russia, Belarus distances itself further from the European Union and ensures that Western sanctions remain in place for the foreseeable future. For Russia, the cost is the further deterioration of its relationship with the West, which sees these exercises as provocative and destabilizing. Yet from Moscow's perspective, the price is justified. It buys deterrence, shows control over its near abroad, and sends a warning to NATO that any attempt to isolate or encroach upon Russian interests will be met with coordinated resistance. The Western price, on the other hand, comes in the form of increased defense spending and heightened readiness along the Eastern Front, a cycle of escalation that continues to drive tension across the region. In conclusion, the Russia-Belarus joint military exercise serves as a powerful reminder of how military drills can carry meanings far beyond their official statements. While both nations insist that Union Shield 2025 is defensive, the sheer scale and sophistication of the operations convey a different message to Western observers. The drills underscore a deeper reality. Europe is entering a new phase of military competition where perception and signaling matter as much as actual combat readiness. The exterior shows discipline and unity, the interior reveals technological advancement and integration, the performance displays capability and coordination, the safety features attempt to control risks but cannot erase suspicion, the unique selling points reinforce alliance and deterrence, the price reflects economic and diplomatic consequences, and the conclusion ties all these together into a clear statement of power and resilience. For now, the world watches closely as tanks roll, jets roar, and political narratives collide. Whether these exercises will remain symbolic or lead to further realignments in Europe's fragile security landscape remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the alliance between Moscow and Minsk is stronger, more deliberate, and more visible than ever before, and for the West, that's enough reason to stay alert.